Welcome, everyone, to an NABC offseason chat. Pleased to be joined by Roger Powell, the new head coach at Valparaiso. Valpo has had a rich history, one that, Roger, you are well aware of. Obviously, you played at Illinois, nearby, next state, but well-versed in Midwestern college basketball history. You're just coming off multiple assistant stints, the latest being at Gonzaga, where you're a major part of this latest great run for the Zags, multiple NCAA tournaments, deep runs to the championship, to the Final Four, all of it. And you were ready for this. Why did you think you were ready for a head coaching job, certainly at this level in the Valley?
Well, I think a couple things. Number one, I started here 12 years ago with Bryce. And, I think, my time here, we won a lot. We had a lot of success. I knew the area. I'm from Joliet, which is like an hour away from here. So, I think the familiarity with Valpo and just with the community was key. Second thing is, like you said, I've had a couple of different stints. I was at, Valpo for 5 years, at Vanderbilt. And then obviously my last 4 years at Gonzaga, being able to see different things and develop my own philosophy, and taking bits and pieces from some of the great coaches I played for and coached under. I think it was that time, man. And here I am. I got a great opportunity. I'm back where it started, and excited to kind of get going.
So had you taken a job 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, even before the pandemic, these kind of jobs were completely different. We are in a new era of college basketball, not just in the power schools, and I include obviously Gonzaga in that grouping in basketball. But certainly in the Valley level, roster management, retaining players, where you're getting players, are they high school, are they transfers? All of that has completely changed. So how are you dealing as a new head coach at a new school? I know you got familiarity there, but still in this era of a new way of dealing with roster management?
It's obviously there's challenges, and a lot of coaches are, trying to figure it out. And for me, I think one of the things I've developed over my career is just, an ability to be really personable and really develop strong relationships with my guys. And, that's not going to change, to be honest. Right now, it's probably, even more important to have that. And that's one area. And then the next thing is just, being able to win some games and being able to get Valpo back to the level that we were when I left, man. That's going to be huge because that builds excitement. And, being able to paint a picture for these recruits that I'm bringing in and to give them vision and give them excitement to, try to get Valpo to the Final Four, and I think those are things, the vision, the relationships, and then just not really complaining about the changes, but finding ways to be effective. All those things are, what I'm doing. And it's been fun to attack it.
So obviously dealing with name, image, and likeness at a place like Gonzaga is different than at Valpo. Although at Valpo, it's the team in the city. It's got great history. You've got a name, at least for those of us that have been following the sport. It's not like you're going to get overrun in a big time city where there's a lot of the things going around. I mean, people who went to Valpo are very loyal to it. Certainly the community is as well. So and I know it's sort of a fine line of how much you can be involved, but at the same time, how are you dealing with the NIL process at a place like Valpo?
Well, I think, one of the things that, made me think Valpo was a great fit was Gonzaga is a small faith-based school, and I remember when we were at Valpo with Bryce, I mean, we were kind of in that same conversation as Gonzaga, and obviously Gonzaga's taken off, and Valpo struggled, but it's the same type of environment, and the way that we were successful and the way that we use NIL at Gonzaga, I think there's a lot of ways that we can kind of capitalize on it here. And to be honest, the type of players that I'm recruiting, the type of kids I'm I'm getting here, are not, money hungry driven guys. They're guys that want to be a part of a great culture, guys that want to develop, on and off the court. And then, at the same time, they want to be involved in the community. So I think, the way we're doing it here is going to be really effective. And, I think it's going to be very similar to the way that, Gonzaga has done it. And to be honest, a lot of things that I, took from my time in Spokane, I'm going to bring here because they're very similar institutions. And the only thing is lacking is, it's time for Valpo to kind of take off and kind of build it into a powerhouse like it was going, before Bryce and I left.
Well, here's the deal. In the Valley's changed. Obviously, there's been a lot of movement within in terms of membership, but we've had different teams at the top of the Valley. Obviously, right now, Drake's having a good run, but that hasn't always been the case. There's been different schools, Bradley, obviously, recently. And so there's no reason that Valpo can't take its turn. So how do you do it?
Yeah, I think we're ready. And I think one of the biggest things was, for me was getting a staff that had some experience and, had some success in this league. And for example, I hired Matt Gordon, who was with Loyola when they were in the Horizon League, and they went from the Horizon League to the Missouri Valley. And then they got hot and they won the Missouri Valley 3 out of 4 years and went to a Final Four. So, he's on my staff. He's one of my assistants. And then, Pat Baldwin is another one of my assistant coaches. He played at Northwestern, was a defensive player of the year. So he's from the area, familiar with the area, coached in multiple teams in the Valley. And he was on the staff that took Northwestern to his first NCAA tournament, berth. So, those two guys have experience in the area. They've won in this league, and they've done what we're going to try to do. And then the last thing is, the coaches on my staff have won. Whether it be a player or a coach, we have a winning pedigree. AJ Moye, one of my assistants, played a national championship game. I played in national championship game, coached in national championship game, and then obviously Flash coached in the Final Four with Loyola. So we have those stories and the experience, and we know what it looks like, know what it feels like. So I think being able to kind of bottle that together, and then take a city that's hungry for winning. I think we have a good pedigree. And I think we have a good formula. And I think we have some experience to be able to attack it.
All right. So look, as a player, that 05 era Illinois, you guys push the basketball. As an assistant coach, certainly, I know Bryce likes to do that. Mark Few likes to do that. Now you're the head coach. What's Valpo going to look like?
I think it's going to be a combination of all those things. But, I was coaching an offense last 4 years that was dominant. And, I think when you ask the question of how do I know if I'm ready or when I'm ready to be a head coach, I think being at Gonzaga and being a part of that kind of helped me develop my offensive philosophy. So there's going to be some things similar, just playing fast, pushing the pace, and then, running the defense with Bryce for the 8 years I was with him. And then, playing, under Bill Self and Bruce Weber. And I think all the defensive things I've learned, even as a player, the grit, what it takes to get stops, those are things I'm going to kind of, develop. And it took me time to kind of get to a place where I was ready to kind of put it in a package where I can teach it to my guys. And it's been fun doing it so far. We've had workouts, and these guys are loving it. They're liking the system. They're liking the style. And it's going to be fun to put it in this league because there's a lot of great programs, a lot of great coaches. So we're going to see how good it works.
Hey, one last thing. The first family of Valpo, you mentioned Bryce. I mean, the Drew family, phenomenal people. And Homer wants to see Valpo succeed. That doesn't always happen, even an iconic coach at an institution. How much, if at all, would you love to, get his input or, have the Drew family at least, just be continue to be supportive?
Are you kidding me, man? Like, Bryce is one of my best friends. We went on vacation together when we coached together. I absolutely love that family. Homer Drew was a mentor for me when I was here. He would sit in my office because I just started and I hadn't coached before. So he would come sit in my office and give me strategies and kind of help me and talk through coaching and motivating players. So, I mean, that family has been very important to my development as a coach and as a husband, as a father. I mean, they've really impacted me in so many ways. The only thing I don't like about the Drew family is that Scott Drew beat us in a national championship game. That I don't like. And they beat us last year by 1. So that is the only negative right now, is I couldn't beat Scott yet. But no, man, Scott, man, has been a mentor to me. And, you know, like I said, I want to make Valpo proud. I want to make this community a winner again. And a lot of reason is, you know, I want to represent the Drew family and what they meant to this program. So I'm an extension of them.
Wonderful people, just like you. So happy that you got this opportunity. And I know we're going to be watching Valpo throughout the course of the season and beyond. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Good to see you.